Welcome to Luke Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Listening Time. I am Liam, and as always, I am joined by the ever-curious and energetic Maggie. How are you doing today, Maggie?
Hi, Liam. I'm doing great, but I have to be honest with you. I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed today. There is so much noise outside, and everyone in my neighborhood is wearing blue or red. I feel like I'm missing out on something huge.
Well, you are definitely right about that. Today is not just any Sunday. Today is Super Bowl Sunday. Specifically, it is Super Bowl 60. Can you believe it? 60 years of this massive event.
Super Bowl 60? Wait, why do people use those strange letters instead of numbers? I saw an L and an X on a poster.
That is a great observation. Those are Roman numerals. The L stands for 50 and the X stands for 10. So when you put them together, you get 60. It's a long-standing tradition for the National Football League to use these symbols for the championship game. It makes it feel more historical and grand, like a modern-day gladiator event.
Roman numerals. Okay, so L is 50 and X is 10. LX is 60. That makes sense. But Liam, before we talk about the game, can we talk about your morning? You look like you have been busy.
Oh, I have been extremely busy, Maggie. Super Bowl Sunday is like a national holiday in the United States, even though it's not official. My morning started at 6 a.m. because I had to start slow cooking the brisket. Do you know what a brisket is?
Brisket. Brisket. No, I do not know that word. Is it a type of ball?
No, it's a very specific cut of beef that comes from the chest of the cow. It's quite tough if you cook it quickly, so you have to cook it at a low temperature for many hours. I have a special smoker in my backyard, and the smell of hickory wood has been drifting through the house all morning. My neighbors were actually leaning over the fence asking when the food would be ready.
That sounds delicious. So you spend the whole day cooking just for one game? That seems like a lot of work for a sport.
It is much more than a sport, Maggie. It's a cultural phenomenon. Think about it this way. Imagine the most popular festival in your country. Now at a high-stakes competition, a massive concert in the middle, and the most expensive commercials in the world. That is the Super Bowl. People who don't even like football watch the Super Bowl just for the atmosphere and the snacks.
I see. So it's about the food and the show as much as the game. But tell me about the teams this year. I keep hearing the names New England Patriots and Seattle Seahawks. Are they the best teams?
They certainly were the best this season. It's a fascinating matchup because these two teams have a history. They played each other in a very famous Super Bowl about 11 years ago. The New England Patriots are from the northeast of the country. They're known for being very disciplined and having a legacy of winning many championships. The Seattle Seahawks come from the Pacific Northwest. Their fans are known as the 12th man because they are so loud that it feels like they're an extra player on the field.
The 12th man? I like that. So the fans actually help the team by being loud. Does that really work?
It really does. In football, the players need to hear the quarterback. The quarterback is the leader of the offense who shouts the instructions before the play begins. If the crowd is screaming at the top of their lungs, the players cannot hear the instructions. It causes confusion. I remember going to a game in Seattle once, and my ears were ringing for 2 days afterward. It was like being at a rock concert where the band never stops playing.
That sounds intense. So we have the disciplined Patriots and the loud Seahawks. I want to know more about the Patriots, though. Why do people talk about them so much?
The Patriots are often seen as the gold standard of the league. They represent a region called New England, which includes states like Massachusetts and Rhode Island. For many years, they were led by a coach and a quarterback who seemed impossible to beat. Even though those individuals have retired, the team still carries that aura of perfectionism. They are the team that people love to hate because they win so often.
People love to hate them. That's an interesting way to put it. So if a team is too good, other people get jealous?
Exactly. In sports, we often root for the underdog. An underdog is a person or a team that is expected to lose. When a team wins all the time, like the Patriots, they are the opposite of an underdog. They are the favorites. But the Seahawks are a very tough opponent. They have a very fast and aggressive defense. In football, the defense is the group of players trying to stop the other team from scoring.
Underdog. I will remember that. I usually like the underdog because it's more exciting when they win. Is Seattle the underdog today?
Most experts say the game is very evenly matched. It's hard to pick a favorite. This morning, while I was checking on my brisket, I was listening to a sports radio show. The commentators were debating for hours about who has the better strategy. One guy was saying that the Patriots have a better passing game, while the other was arguing that the Seahawks have a better running game.
Passing and running. I know those words in normal English, but what do they mean in football?
Good question. In American football, a pass is when the quarterback throws the ball through the air to a teammate. It's risky, but can cover a lot of distance quickly. A run is when the quarterback gives the ball to a player called a running back who tries to run through the defense. Running is safer, but usually covers less ground. It's like a game of chess, but with very large men hitting each other.
A game of chess with large men hitting each other. That's a funny image, Liam. I'm starting to understand why you're so excited. It sounds like a big puzzle.
It really is a puzzle. And the piece of the puzzle everyone is talking about today is the weather. Even though the game is played in a stadium, the conditions leading up to it affect the players. But more than the weather, it's the pressure. This is the biggest stage in the world. Millions of people are watching. One small mistake can change your entire life.
That's a lot of pressure. I get nervous just talking in front of 10 people. I can't imagine millions.
I actually have a story about that kind of pressure, which I will tell you in a moment. But first, I want to make sure you're ready for the vocabulary we're going to encounter as the game starts. We're going to hear words like kickoff and touchdown and field goal.
Kickoff, touchdown, field goal. I've heard touchdown in movies. It's when they score, right?
Yes, a touchdown is the best way to score. It's worth 6 points. Then they get a chance to kick the ball through the yellow goalpost for an extra point. If they can't get a touchdown, they might try a field goal, which is just a kick worth 3 points. The game starts with a kickoff, where one team kicks the ball to the other to begin play.
Okay, so kickoff starts the game, touchdown is the big score, field goal is the smaller score. I think I'm ready for the details now. Tell me your story about the pressure, Liam.
Well, it happened back when I was in college. I wasn't a football player, but I was in the university band. We were invited to play at a very large game. Not the Super Bowl, of course, but it felt like it to me. Picking up right where we left off with my story about the pressure of the big game. As I mentioned, I was in the university band and we were performing during the halftime show of a major regional championship. There were about 50,000 people in the stadium. I played the trumpet and I had a very short solo. It was only about 10 seconds long, but in my mind, it felt like an hour. I remember standing in the tunnel before we marched onto the field. The air was cold and I could see my breath. My hands were shaking so much that I was afraid I would drop my trumpet. When the lights hit us, it was blinding. I could not see the faces of the crowd, only a wall of lights and the roar of the fans. When it was time for my solo, I took a deep breath and played. For a second, the stadium went quiet in my ears. I hit the notes perfectly, but as I finished, I was so relieved that I started marching in the wrong direction. I was supposed to turn left and I turned right. I almost ran into a drum player. Luckily, I corrected myself quickly. But that moment taught me that even if you are prepared, the environment can make your brain do strange things.
Oh no, Liam. That sounds terrifying and funny at the same time. You marched the wrong way. Did anyone notice?
My band director definitely noticed. He gave me a very stern look afterward. But it gave me a lot of respect for these athletes in the Super Bowl. If I got confused just playing a trumpet, imagine being a quarterback trying to remember a complex play while 300-pound men are running at you with the intention of knocking you down. That is why the mental strength of the players on the Patriots and the Seahawks is just as important as their physical strength.
I agree. I would probably just run away if a 300-pound man ran at me. So you mentioned the halftime show. I know the Super Bowl always has a big singer. Who is performing for Super Bowl 60?
This year, it is a massive pop star, and the rumors say there will be several surprise guests. The halftime show has become such a spectacle that some people only tune in for those 15 minutes. It's a masterclass in production. They have to build a giant stage on the grass in less than 7 minutes and then take it all down just as fast so the game can continue. It's like a small army of technicians working in perfect harmony.
7 minutes to build a stage? That is incredible. I struggled to put together a simple bookshelf in 7 hours. Liam, you used a few words there that I want to double check. You said spectacle and wait, how do you say it?
It's pronounced spectacle. Spectacle. A spectacle is a visually striking performance or display, something that is very impressive to look at. For example, the fireworks at the end of a celebration are a spectacle. The halftime show is a spectacle because of the lights, the dancers, and the technology.
Spectacle. Okay. And you also said tune in. What does that mean?
To tune in means to adjust a radio or television to a particular frequency to watch or listen to a program. In a modern sense, it just means to watch or attend an event. We say millions of people tune in to the Super Bowl every year. It comes from the old days when you had to turn a physical dial to find the right station.
Tune in. Like I tune in to this podcast to learn English.
Exactly. You're a natural. Another word I used was legacy. I said the Patriots have a legacy of winning. A legacy is something that is handed down from the past. It can be a reputation or a set of achievements. If a family has a legacy of being doctors, it means many generations were doctors. In sports, a legacy is the history of success that a team built over many decades.
Legacy, like a historical footprint. I like that word. So, Liam, tell me another story. You said you were cooking brisket. Have you ever had a disaster while watching a big game?
Oh, I have had several, but one stands out. It was about 8 years ago. I invited all my friends over for a game, and I decided to make a giant bowl of chili. Chili is a thick, spicy stew with beans and meat that is very popular for football parties. I spent all afternoon preparing it. I used 3 different types of peppers to make it extra spicy. When the game started, the score was very close. Everyone was jumping up and down. At one point, the team I was rooting for scored a touchdown in the final seconds. I was so excited that I jumped up with my bowl of chili in my hand. I slipped on a piece of ice that had fallen from a drink, and the entire bowl of red, spicy chili went flying into the air. It landed right on my white sofa and my friend's very expensive beige sweater.
Oh my goodness, no! A white sofa and a beige sweater? That sounds like a nightmare. What did you do?
There was a moment of complete silence. The game was over and my team had won, but the room looked like a crime scene. I spent the next 4 hours scrubbing the sofa with every cleaning product I owned. The sweater was a total loss, though. I had to buy my friend a new one the next week. Now I have a strict rule. No one is allowed to eat red soup while sitting on the white furniture during a game. We stay in the kitchen or we use very small plates.
That is a very wise rule. I would be so upset if that happened to me. So the lesson is, don't jump while holding chili.
Exactly. It's all about the stakes. High stakes in the game and high stakes for my furniture.
You said high stakes. Can you explain that?
Sure. Stakes are what you risk losing in a situation. If you play a game of cards for money, the money represents the stakes. If the stakes are high, it means there's a lot to lose or a lot to win. The Super Bowl is a high-stakes game because it's the final game of the year. There are no second chances. You either win the trophy or you go home with nothing.
High stakes. That makes the game much more exciting to watch. I'm starting to feel the tension. I think I might actually watch a little bit of the Patriots and Seahawks game today.
You should. Even if you don't understand every rule, just watch the way the players interact. Watch the coaches on the sidelines. They have these giant headsets on and they're constantly talking to their assistants. They're looking at tablets to see photos of the previous plays. It's a very technical operation.
I will. I want to see if I can spot the 12th man, too.
You will definitely hear them before you see them. The noise level is a major part of the strategy. It's one of the few sports where the fans can actually influence the outcome of the game just by being loud.
That's so cool. It makes the fans feel like they're part of the team. I think I'm ready to learn how to use some of this football talk in my daily life.
That's a great idea. There are so many idioms in English that come from American football. We use them in business and in casual conversation all the time.
Really? Like what?
Well, we'll get into that in just a moment. I want to make sure we cover how to sound like a real fan when you're talking to your neighbors later today. That point you just made about the fans being part of the team leads us perfectly into how we can use football language in our everyday lives. Even if you never step onto a football field, you will hear people using these phrases in the office or at home. For example, have you ever heard someone say that they need to move the chains?
Move the chains. Like a metal chain? No, I have never heard that. Is it about construction?
It sounds like it, but it actually comes from football. On the sidelines, there are officials who hold a long chain that is exactly 10 yards long. The goal of the team is to move the ball at least 10 yards to get a new set of tries. When they do that, the officials move the chains forward. So, in business, if you are working on a big project and you make a little bit of progress, you might say, "We're finally moving the chains." It means we're making steady progress toward our goal.
Moving the chains means making progress. I like that. I'm going to use that at work tomorrow. I'll tell my boss that I moved the chains on my report.
He will be very impressed. Another very common one is to drop the ball. In football, if a player is about to catch a pass but he lets it slip through his fingers, he has dropped the ball. In life, if you make a mistake or forget to do something important, people will say you dropped the ball. For example, if I forgot to bring the recording equipment today, I would have dropped the ball.
Oh, I have definitely dropped the ball many times. Last week, I forgot my sister's birthday. I really dropped the ball on that one.
Exactly. It's a very natural way to apologize for a mistake. One more that's very popular is game changer. A game changer is an event or a person that completely changes the situation. In a football game, a sudden touchdown can be a game changer. In the real world, a new invention like the smartphone was a total game changer for how we communicate.
Game changer. That's a strong word. I think learning English with this podcast is a game changer for me. It's much better than just reading a grammar book.
I'm so glad to hear that, Maggie. That's exactly our goal. Now, I want to share one final story about the Super Bowl that shows how unpredictable it can be. This relates to the concept of a Hail Mary.
A Hail Mary. Is that a religious thing?
It has its roots there, but in football, a Hail Mary is a very long, desperate pass thrown at the very end of a game when a team is losing and has almost no time left. It's a prayer for a miracle. Many years ago, I was watching a game with my father. His favorite team was losing by 4 points. There was only 1 second left on the clock. The quarterback threw the ball as far as he could into a crowd of players. It seemed impossible. But somehow, the ball bounced off one player's shoulder and landed right in the arms of a teammate who was standing in the end zone. The stadium erupted. My father was so happy he accidentally knocked over his chair and started dancing. It taught me to never give up until the very last second.
A Hail Mary, a miracle pass. That is a beautiful story, Liam. It shows that anything is possible. I think that's my favorite lesson for today.
It really is. And that brings us to the end of our Super Bowl LX special. Maggie, what are your main takeaways from today?
Well, first, I learned that LX means 60 in Roman numerals. I learned that the New England Patriots are the favorites and the Seattle Seahawks have the 12th man. I learned the words spectacle and legacy. And most importantly, I learned that I should not jump with a bowl of chili on a white sofa. Also, I have some great new idioms, like moving the chains and dropping the ball.
You've had a very productive day, Maggie. You are definitely moving the chains with your English studies. For all of our listeners out there, whether you're watching the game today for the sports, the halftime show, or just the snacks, we hope you have a wonderful time. Try to listen for some of the words we talked about if you tune into the podcast.
Yes, thank you everyone for listening. I'm going to go find some red and blue clothes so I can fit in with my neighbors. Maybe I'll even try to make some chili, but I'll be very careful.
That's the spirit. Just remember to keep the napkins nearby. Thank you for joining us on English Listening Time. We'll be back next week with a new topic and more stories. Until then, keep listening and keep practicing.
Goodbye, everyone, and enjoy the game.
Goodbye.